I got it for 3 reasons. Right time, right place, and right God.
Is that fake chest hair?
Yes, it is fake chest hair. I did it so you could see the Star of David a little better.
That's really funny.
This is where the troops go in the back right there.
For the day ones, the OG fans, you remember long ago in a land far, far away, the days of doing it on a laptop. And we're getting nostalgic, like your favorite football team that loves to put on the retro uniforms. We're going back to the studio, or we're going back to the laptop days. Not because I'm in the mood for laptops, but because certain bad financial decisions on my end, I have to make budget cuts. We need to do our part to support the Iran war. We need another $200 billion to be sent to the government. I need to scrounge up my pennies and send them off to help out. But very rarely, I want to say actually this is no, technically he's not a return guest. I've only had maybe technically 2 or 3 return guests, but I had the privilege of being on this man's podcast before. It was about this time last year. And now the offer is the gratitude is being paid back, and he will be joining us. But first off, Leo, I have a bone to pick with you, if you don't mind me taking it real quick.
Let's do it.
So, do you remember the story that I had last year when I came onto your show?
I do. Do you want me to do a quick recap?
Yeah, if you could, yes, let's hear it.
Yeah, I remember you had a dentist appointment that day, and then there was like a fair going on in front of the dentist's office. You couldn't find parking, and I think somehow you ended up talking to. You said that you were ended up talking to this absolute 10 unit of a woman, and I don't know what happened after that. I think she said that she didn't like you or something, or you creeped her out.
Not all of that was true, but
so something along those lines.
It was. What happened was there was a fair, and UNM happened to be there promoting, I think it was not a sorority, but some type of order. We'll have to watch it again. But it was
a college gig, yeah.
It was 3 blondes out there that I had the chance to talk with. Realistically, would I have been with all of them? Probably not, but one can dream. And because I had to get my filling done early to be on a certain man's podcast, I get my filling that took way too long, and when I come out, I see nothing. They already left. And then fast forward now to March of 2026, I don't want to believe that coincidences are really a thing. This is hard to articulate, but it's very hard to believe that lightning can strike twice in the same place. But guess where it struck again? At my gym, I am doing leg raises. I'm trying to strengthen my core. And what comes across my way? Then not a dime piece, not a bad bitch.
A goddess.
We're talking a woman. Like 10 out of 10. Blonde again. Solid woman comes by. And I think to myself, as soon as I get done with my set, you ever see these women I'm talking about, you ever see them come by and you're just like, I gotta say something. You just like you lose focus of everything else. You have to approach them, right?
I mean, sorry, I don't, because in my head I'm like that enters my mind. Firstly, I'm like, I gotta fucking say something. But then again, at the same time, I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm not going to say anything smart. I'm not going to say anything funny. I'm probably just going to be like, you look nice today, or like, you smell good. And they're going to be like, we need to call the cops right fucking now, because what the fuck is this? I'm not going to say anything impressive, and I'm not an impressive man by any means. So I'm just like, I'll just keep my thoughts to myself.
I appreciate your humility, Leo, but I will say getting arrested for sexual harassment is not really that bad. I'm not speaking from experience here, but when I get off the pull-up bar, I wipe my shirt off. I begin to look. Somehow in the span of a 10-second period, this woman is gone. She is not in the gym. I don't know what happened to her. And so instead of blaming myself, and taking responsibility for my actions, I would rather just blame Leo for cock blocking me from 4 beautiful women, I would like to say. So, Leo, I want to put my burdens, my responsibilities, my failures on you because I'm an irresponsible human being, and I hope you appreciate that.
Hey, man, I appreciate it because you're not the first person to blame something on me of which I had totally nothing to do with. And I have a story about that later on. And you're not going to be the last. I guarantee you. People have blamed me for random shit that I don't know what's going on. And you know what? That's okay. I'll take the blame for it. You know what? In fact, you know what? In fact, it's not even guilt on me at this point. It is actually an honor that my aura can just travel so far and be so powerful that it can still cock block you from miles and miles away.
You know, that reminds me of, I love the reverse psychology take on it because, you know about road rage, right? How people will flip out if the person cuts them off one too many times or something on the road.
Yeah.
I've discovered something that I'm not a road rage guy, but I'm one of those guys who causes the people to go on road rage, I think.
So you don't know how to drive?
Basically. I mean, that's one way to put it. But I had one example. I can't remember how it happened, but it's like I didn't stop at an intersection when I was supposed to stop and let someone drive by. It was a mistake by me. I don't dispute that. But the guy driving the truck, he honked at me, obviously upset, and I'm like, oh shit. So I drove past his truck I figured might as well just keep going. And as I'm driving by, I see him, flip his arms up out of anger. But that's not what made the story. As I'm driving away, I had to do I forget how I ended up seeing it, but I looked through my rearview mirror and I see this same guy driving his truck. Even 15 seconds after I cut him off by accident, he's still flipping his arms up, his day is ruined. And similar to how you can cock block me from thousands of miles away and we've never met each other in person, it genuinely brings delight to my soul knowing that I've done that to somebody's day.
It's pretty great knowing that you've ruined somebody's day. I'm not gonna lie. It warms me up inside. I like it. In terms of like when people are bad drivers, a lot of people get pissed off and then they flip off the person who sucks at driving. I like to give them a very stern and determined thumbs down, because if you cut someone off and somebody flips you off, you're like, go fuck you too, dude.
Yeah.
But if you give them a thumbs down, it makes them think a little bit. They're like, was that a finger or was that a thumb? Why the fuck was he giving me a thumbs down? And then I hope they know that I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I don't know if that hurts worse. Exactly. I don't know how to interpret that if I saw someone putting their thumbs down.
Exactly. I like to do that. I think it's fun. I think it's sort of passive aggressive, but I like to think that it messes with their heads a little bit.
Now that I think of it, because you are right. When you flip it, because flipping the bird, no matter what it is, that's just fighting words.
They're just like, go fuck yourself.
But if you put thumbs down, you're expressing like, look, man, like you're saying you're incompetent. That's what that's saying.
Yep. It's not out of anger. I put a lot of restraint into not giving you the finger. And I'm just like, I'm disappointed.
The story of our careers as it is, which we will get very well into tonight. Without further ado, though, from the Wetboots Podcast, Mr. Leo Banuelos.
You are the first person to say my last name correctly, and I thank you for that. That is amazing.
I'm a cultured man, and I do my homework.
That's what I'm talking about.
I get in these weird kicks where I try to learn Spanish. Like, I could maybe pass off like I know it, but I get in these kicks where I'll study it for like a couple of months, and then I go haywire for 3 or 4, and it's off and on. But nonetheless, I will give you the floor for a little bit because I know, with your show, you'll have some of your audience probably watching here. I don't know how much of my audience watches your show, but let's get it straight out of the horse's mouth. Who is Leo Banuelos?
In short, man, I'm just a guy named Leo, man. I was from California, joined the Army at, 20 years old or so. And I only joined because I didn't really have anything else to do. I got bored. I was like, I can't stay here because I'm just going to go downhill, right? And oddly enough, ironically enough, I was in college, and about, I don't know, about 3-4 months before I actually joined, I think I wrote a paper. I did a debate on the recruiting age should be lifted from 18 to 21 because that's like the drinking age. Little did I know, 4 or 5 months later, I would be enlisting, and I was like, "Oh shit, this really kicked me in the ass." Yeah, I joined 20. Had a lot of red flags throughout my career. Did not see them in basic training. You know how you hear people get a Dear John letter or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I got a Dear John call, which was interesting to say the least. I got a Dear John call. I was a mechanic for the longest fucking time, and I absolutely hated every single goddamn bit of it. And when during my first deployment, I got, I did AIT and all that stuff, and then I got stationed at Bragg, and Lord knows that you never leave Bragg. You either stay at Bragg or you come back to Bragg, right? It's just how the fucking beast goes. I ended up staying at Bragg pretty much my whole career, which that wasn't really too bad. But I was in 82nd for the longest time. I was airborne throughout my whole fucking career. Didn't really care for that too much. But in my first deployment, I got broken up with in country, so that was fun. That was another red flag that I just blatantly ignored. That was fun. I never really cared for being airborne. It was just one of those things that the recruiter said, "Hey, I enlisted in haste. I was like, I just want to get the fuck out of here." And so it was like one of the first jobs available, signed, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be airborne." And I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?" They're like, "Oh, you're gonna jump out of planes." I'm like, "Got it. Don't know what that entails." So, okay. And
not to insult your intelligence, but you didn't. I mean, you had to at least know that it meant jumping out of planes, right? Or doing something.
The word airborne did not even exist in my vocabulary up until that point. So I was like, I don't need to know air and born. I know what born is. A baby's born every goddamn day. Why the fuck would a baby be born in the air? I don't know. Don't know what I thought. It just never.
Spanish. Is that why it wasn't you didn't get it at the time, or?
The airborne in Spanish is paracaidista.
Paracaidista?
Paracaidista. It's a parachutist. So it's two different words, right? So it was very much of a shock for me. I didn't know what the fuck it entailed. When I got to airborne school, and I know I got a little bit ahead of myself there, but when I got to airborne school, I was so naive to everything from everything in the Army that when we loaded the bird, I was the last person in my chalk. And when we loaded the bird, I'm looking at where the pilot, all the way to the front of the bird, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. I got at least 30 seconds to a minute, I don't know, to freak out and then grab my balls and then fucking jump. Okay. And then I just kept looking and I was like, there's a door over there. Okay. There's a guy that that looks like he knows what he's doing. I'll jump out of there. Okay. And then we started getting up, we started flying, and then everybody, it was a little bit, it was a couple minutes in flight. And then out of nowhere, a guy standing to my right, and he's just like, "Get ready." And I'm like, "Why the fuck are you right next to me?" He's calling the commands from right next to me, right in front of me. And I'm like, "Oh, they're probably doing it from the back so that way everybody can hear from the front."
Yeah.
Right. And then so that we finally hook up and everything. And I turn around to where I think I'm supposed to go. And the guy grabs my shit and he just turns me around. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "The door's that way." I'm still so in shock. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "The door's that way." And then they open the door and I'm like, fuck, I'm the first fucking jumper, dude. Fuck this. It was absolutely terrible. I don't recommend it. It sucked. And I was the first jumper out. And then when they tell you when you're first jumper out, just fucking look at the horizon. Don't look at the ground. It's easier if you look at the horizon. So I did, jumped out, landed like a sack of potatoes, and then I kept being the first one every single fucking time, even though I try to avoid it.
So this is the way I see it. One thing I've realized about fear is the anticipation, I think, is 99% of where the fear is. When you're actually doing it, it's not as bad, whether it's, fighting, jumping, or, even if you're a kid and you want to ask a girl out or approach someone. Is it the same? That's what runs through my mind. Was it the same thing, or it sounds like it was a bit different when you were jumping?
I mean, in airborne school, everything's new, right? Nobody's, I mean, unless you're a skydiver, you don't really have any experience with static line jumping. So it was very much a new experience for me. I just kind of like dissociated for a little bit and then just kept going. Once you start to really get the feel of it, and once you realize, oh, my parachute's not going to completely malfunction, or oh, I've had enough reps in this, you start to get a little bit more comfortable. But that's where the problem is. If you start to get comfortable, that means you're getting complacent. Being complacent means you're going to miss a lot of different things. You can injure yourself or injure others.
Yeah.
So it's still like, I've throughout my career, I realized that I still had that fear, but at one point I just lost that fear, and that I lost that anticipation, and I was like, I probably shouldn't fucking be doing this anymore. And that was another red flag that I was like, that I ignored, right? So I was like, I probably shouldn't be jumping anymore, but I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. Have you jumped since you've been out?
Fuck no, dude. I can't. I got chased by a dog like 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't move for like 3 days. This is a very real. That's a very real story. It's a very real injury, and it fucking sucked.
I mean, to play devil's advocate, I mean, yeah, you might not be able to outrun the dog, but if you jump out of a plane, you're gonna move. I mean, gravity's gonna do its work, I would think.
Exactly, gravity's gonna do its thing, and I'm fucking 200 plus pounds. I even when I was like 170, 190, I still dropped like a sack of shit, and it sucks. It hurts, but. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes you have nice landings. Sometimes you land in mud. Sometimes you land next to a transmission or an engine. You never know or bushes or in trees or something. You never know what you're going to get.
So how are you supposed to land when you do the actual? Because I don't know how good of a reference this is. But when I was a kid, there was a Power Rangers movie that I loved to watch, and in the context of the film, they were like They did something for air shows, but when they would parachute in, they would, kind of run their feet like this, and then as they would get to the ground, it was like they were running onto it.
It's completely different. Static line jumping is completely different because you're flying at such a low altitude, and you're floating down in a different type of parachute. That's like what you're describing is more skydiving. In the Army, we have like the Golden Knights that do that, that like jump into like air shows or like or games, college games, football games, and all that stuff, and they parachute in. That's the kind of skydiving and landing that you do with static line jumping. Since it's such a low altitude, you're gonna go to the ground pretty fucking fast, and it's usually balls of the feet, calves, thighs, buttocks, and the pull-up muscle, and you learn how to fall and how to PLF and how to hit the ground. That's actually part of your part of the training. That's a huge part of the training in airborne school. And before you jump, there's always an initial manifest where you go through all the emergency procedures. You do the mock doors. You do like a mock jump where you're on a platform on the ground, and then you just jump out, right? Like you just jump out like 10 feet onto the ground. Make sure you still know how to do everything. Make sure you still know how you're still aware. And then part of that is also PLS, which is a parachute landing fall, where you stand on a platform and they tell you, okay, winds are going right, and you're conducting a left PLF, and then they tell you set or something like that, and then you fall or you jump off the platform and perform that correct PLF.
Okay. Now
that was a loaded sentence right there.
No, I get it. There's a lot to it, and I mean, I imagine you won't stick. And at least for someone like me, unless I'm practicing it, it's going to be hard to remember a lot of it. But to some of your audience, it sounds pretty basic knowledge, I guess. Or is this you in the? If you want to pull it up, there's a parachute photo that you have of looks like kind of sunrise or sunset, and there's just some body, in the trees.
Let me pull that up.
Please hit the like button, the subscribe button, follow button, leave a comment, get the algorithm flowing so we can get our shows to grow here.
Talking about this picture right here.
Others may see your video. Oh God, this. Hang on, conveniently Zoom's got to get in the way, or not Zoom, but Google. Yes,
that was that's a while back. And what you're seeing, if you're listening, you're not watching. What you're seeing there is it's just trees. It's a sunset, and there's a guy up in the trees, and that guy is me. That guy is me. I landed in the trees way back when, and I was not happy about it. It was kind of a bullshit. It was pretty much bullshit that I landed in the trees, I was trying to avoid the trees, but the wind was just taking me there. A lot of us landed in the trees. But the reason why I was pissed, not only because I landed in the trees, but because also the guy in front of me landed in like this little tiny, so this area that I landed in, it was in front of like it was like in front of the tree line, but it was also still like a little tiny island of trees. And the guy that jumped in front of me, he landed right on the little path separating the tree line and the tree and the little island of trees that I landed in. So what was his name? Neo. We called him Neo because his last name was impossible. He's like, he looks at me, he's like, "What's up, man?" And I'm like, "Fuck you, Neo, dude. Grab someone." He's like, "You okay? You land in tree?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no shit, dude. I'm fucking hanging out up here. What the fuck do you think happened?" But yeah, that was
So do you just have to hang there helplessly until somebody cuts you out, or what's the?
So you can either hang there helplessly, or they also, like, part of the pre-jump and part of the whole procedure is that they teach you how to get out of a parachute, to tell you how to get out of a parachute in case you get stuck in the trees. I tried it. I went through all the procedures and I grabbed my right set of risers and I pulled down and all I heard was crunching. And I said, absolutely fucking not. I'm staying here. Somebody's going to come with a ladder. Fuck that.
So, so this is my thing, right? Like, if you're in a tree, you're going to have to just fall. I mean, you're going to have to, because I assume in combat scenario, you're not going to have someone with a ladder to come help you. You're just going to have to figure out how to fall, right?
I figured out, I mean, obviously I was like, I'm going to fucking wait for somebody to come. Eventually somebody did, but the ladder was too short for the tree for where I was at. So I'm like, fuck, dude. I grabbed the risers, I hear crunching, and I did my best to get myself to the actual tree trunk and get all the equipment off of me. And then I had to koala myself down all the way down to the ladder, down to the ground.
Okay. And that's a pretty thin tree. So at least I assume, were able to like hug it, bear it down.
I was hanging on I was fucking death gripping that tree, dude. It was rough. I didn't like it. It was so fucking scary. It was scary climbing down because I'm already tired, blooded, like the harness and everything is pretty tight. So like my arms are losing blood. And finally, when I take the whole thing off, I have to do it in sections because I'm like trying to hold on to the train. I'm like, man, trying to do this, like going over, grab the other side and just fucking doing that shit. It was fun. Wouldn't recommend it though, but
I'm glad the Marine Corps doesn't have airborne because, I mean, I know most of us would do well, but I can imagine, knowing most Marines and myself too, just how it would be very similar.
So yeah, the Marines do have airborne qualified personnel. I'm sure they're in MARSOC, but I don't know how often they jump. Yeah,
I know with MARSOC they do something, and I don't know with just why am I blanking on the phrase here? I guess we're just like the regular body of Marines, because with like 80 seconds, if you're in that entire division, and obviously you guys all learn how to. And I think we talked about this on our last show, because the Army, it's like they actually have it in their doctrine, in their skill set, you know, as like a conventional force to do airborne, at least for a small segment to do that. But with Marines, it's just not really a thing for us.
No, yeah, I know. I mean, when you split up into the Department of War or the military service, the Marines don't necessarily have to. If you split it up within the Marines, a few could. You know, it'd be nice if a few could and a few should. But just like the Army, the majority of people don't need it. It depends on your MOS, depends on your unit, and all kinds of things that it really depends on.
Yeah, and we because what's crazy is like we have a lot of heights, or I guess courses or advanced schools that deal with heights. We have I think assault climbers is one of them. I could be wrong on that, but it's something to do where you have to learn how to like tie knots and stuff like that, and then you usually hang from certain birds.
Yeah, we got air assault.
What was the one we do? Fast roping, which isn't really a course. Like, everybody does that one, but it's still pretty like heights intensive, I guess you'd say. So I mean, we could definitely do it, but yeah, I could just see a lot of dumb stories like that of us getting caught in the trees, us breaking our legs or bouncing, when we hit the ground or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I had a guy on it. I can't remember his name to save my life, but I remember his face. It was one of my most viewed episodes. He had a complete malfunction, which means your main reserve doesn't open up, and you have your reserve parachute in front of you. I think it opened up, but it cigarette rolled, and when it cigarette rolls, it just rolls into like a straight line, and he just free fell however many feet, and he landed in a swamp, and the swamp was pretty much what saved his life because he didn't land on a hard surface.
Jesus. So he literally just free fall. I mean, I assume some of the speed might have been lowered or slowed.
Well, so I definitely encourage your listeners to go check that episode because we go into depth, and he sent me the videos, and I put the videos out of what actually happened, of him in the bird. So what happened was he was a toe jumper, and when you're a toe jumper, that means the static line. When you're holding a static line, you hook it onto pretty much rebar that's going across the bird. That static line pulls out your chute as you're falling, right? That static line didn't detach from his chute. And so what happens is he's hanging on the bird in flight, and he's just smacking the side of it.
Oh my
finally,
God.
the jump masters in the bird decide to cut him free because there's procedures for that, right? They decide to cut him free. And I think he lost his helmet at some point before the landing. I think at one of the smacks he lost his helmet. I'll show you the picture so you can put it into this to this part of it. But they cut him free, and he tries to pull his
Not
reserves.
to cut you off, Leo, but I just thought of this. I would love to hear the VA try to deny his disability rating. Try to tell him, give him anything under 100%. I would love to hear this doctor try to pitch that if that happened. Because it was a full investigation. People got fired. People got fired from their roles. People got probably kicked out of the army because of this. Because a lot of this came down to negligence on a lot of different parts. I was gonna ask, what did they do wrong, or what was because it sounds just like an equipment malfunction or an accident almost.
Right, but when you go to an equipment malfunction, there is a parachute. There's a rigger and I said rigger with an R, that hacks that parachute. Right, so someone is if there's a malfunction, someone is responsible for that parachute, and they log it and they write it, and it's in the actual parachute. Right, and now you have jump masters and PJs who are part of that whole thing, who are part of that whole operation that play a part in that safety. And once you're pretty much out of the bird, then it's pretty much between you and God. But if you're smacking the side of the bird, there's certain, if you keep a nice tight body position, they'll know you're conscious and they'll cut you off in hopes that your reserve, and then they teach you how to do all that stuff, but in hopes that your reserve actually helps you go to the ground. His reserve did not do that. So he free fell, I don't know, what was it, like 1,400 feet or something like that into a swamp. Yeah, that shit was wild. And he had a couple jumps after that before he got med boarded.
Wait, so when he was banging, so if they're unconscious, if they're banging, if their body's banging up against the bird and they can hear that, that's proof that they're not.
If they're banging, so what happens is, all this that at the end of, once everybody clears the bird, once everybody jumps out, the jump master will do one final grab the sides of the bird and then pull his body out to make sure everybody's out. Right. Mm-hmm. And I'll send you the video. I got to find it, but I'll send you this video. But in this one, jump master comes out and he sees there's one person, because you can see him, and even from the inside the bird, you can see him just fucking fly out, and he's just like, hey, and they're like, oh fuck, and then you just see the jump master, the PJ, just fucking do this, means cut him free, so they cut him loose, right? Mm-hmm. So now there's an added element there, like there's an added element of like, why didn't he assume a tight body position to let them know that he was still conscious? Because if you're not conscious, then you just flop around. Then they tried to pull you in. I think they tried to pull him in, but they couldn't. And even when they do try to pull you in, there's a system that's connected on the rebar that you hook your static line to that mechanically pulls all the static lines in, no matter the amount of pressure. Right? Apparently that was down or something like that, and so that's why they had to cut him loose. However, once I released that episode and once I released those clips, one of the PJs, which is I don't know what the actual term is, but it's an Air Force dude that's on the bird. He messaged me, he or she, I can't remember. They were like, this dude's fucking lying. I want to come on your show to tell everybody that he was lying and do this and do that. pretty much just trying to besmirch this guy's story. And I thought about it for a couple of days before I responded. And I said, listen, I am more than happy to have you come on the show and tell your story and tell your military story, and then tell your side of this story that actually happened. But one thing I'm not going to let you do is call this guy a fucking liar when he free fell so many fucking feet and he's still alive. Right. Mm-hmm. To me, that's fucking bullshit. Like, how are you going to tell, like, if I free fell from a fucking bird and then you're telling me I'm fucking lying, dude, I don't know what the fuck happened up there. I just fucking know that at some point I was stuck. I was hitting the plane and then I was in the ground and I was somehow alive. How the fuck are you going to tell me that I'm fucking lying? I don't give a fuck. I told them, more than happy to have you tell your story. One thing I'm not going to let you do is call this dude a fucking liar and fucking smear his name, because it happened. Let's fucking face it. It happened through someone's fault. We don't know who, but it fucking happened.
Yes. Now, I admire your integrity here, Leo, but controversy does sell very well.
Yeah, I know it does.
This is a big boost to the show if you allow that. I'm just saying you could add this controversy here. Have a paid guest, like a paid protester. They weren't even there, just bullshit some story.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was more than I told him I was more than happy to have him on the show and tell his side of the story and his recounting of the events. But they were just adamant about, like, this dude's fucking lying. This didn't happen and this didn't go down and this is not why we did this. I'm like, listen, that's his fucking reality, right? That's his fucking story. More than happy to have you on the show. But I didn't want to bring this guy on and tell him he's fucking lying and say he's fucking lying. He's this and this and that. He's a piece of shit, because I felt like that. I just felt some sort of way about it. Like, it's like if you get shot in the head by whoever, and then the guy who shot you in the head is like, "Well, that didn't happen that way. That's not actually how it happened." It's like, listen, tell your story, but you can't tell me this guy didn't get shot in the fucking head.
Lee Harvey Oswald is rolling in his grave hearing what you just said right there.
Listen, oh man, I don't even want to get into that rabbit hole, but Jesus Christ, you're right.
How do you, like, this is because from what it sounds like, the guy who free fell, he doesn't really have that much of a story. His line got caught up on the bar. Forgive me for butchering the terminology, guys, but his line got caught, he gets cut, and he free falls, basically. His main reserve wasn't working. It's like there's not really that much, like, how do you prove that he didn't free fall? Like, if that's the main claim.
I don't know what they were trying to prove. That's the thing. I don't know. The story was great because I mean his actual story, his recounting of the events was great. I highly encourage you guys to go check that out. Check that episode out. It's awesome.
Plug it in. What's the name of it for everyone who's listening?
I'd gotta look it up, man. But Jacob Tater. Jacob Tater. Look up Jacob Tater on YouTube, like, and Spotify.
Tater? Is it Tater Tot?
Yep.
Oh, great my God.
Too. Great name too. I think his name was Jacob Tater, but
where is he from, by the way? He has to be somewhere south of the Mason-Dixon line with a name like that.
I think he was, to be honest with you. I think he was. Cool guy. Love him to death. He's great. He's a friend of the show. But his story was wild. And the fact that I didn't know, what I didn't know is that he actually kept jumping after that incident, which I think is absolutely fucking insane.
Was he even hurt?
He was hurt.
A name like that, it probably just got off and just dusted it, I would assume.
Probably just got off and was like, well, I might as well go home now. But
they call me tater salad.
No, obviously he went through rehab. I think he had a couple back surgeries. But afterwards, when he was clear, I think he jumped, one or two more times. And then something happened that he got obviously medically retired and medically disabled or medically separated. But I think it's absolutely insane. Because I'm telling you right now, and I've said it throughout my whole career. If I'm a toe jumper, I'm not fucking jumping again.
Oh, just from that one incident after hearing
but because this is the thing with parachute pay, you get paid once you jump out the door, right? And there was a lot of times where I asked a jump master or I asked the company air, the battalion air or something like, hey, if you're a toe jumper, does that still count as a jump? Because you didn't exit the aircraft. I mean, you exited the aircraft, But if they retrieve you, then you land with the aircraft. So you didn't technically jump out.
That's
Or
a good
did you?
point.
And I never really, and it really started off as a joke of me asking people, because, you know, during your pre-jump, you do toe jumper, landing in trees, landing in wires, landing in water, you know, all those kind of things. And
Wait, so how much do you get paid for so you get paid for being being airborne or jumping out of the plane?
Yeah, $150 a month. And I'm telling you right now, it's not worth it, dude. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, my ankles and my knees crack every fucking time. I've had 5, 6 concussions around that.
Jesus.
I mean, you know, they teach you how to land. You know, it's all about tucking your chin in to not get a concussion. But there's times where I've landed in asphalt. There's times where I've landed in bushes. I've landed in mud. I've landed obviously in the trees. And I've landed super hard as fuck, because sometimes you have to also land with your ruck, with your weapon, and your ruck, and sometimes you have a follow-on mission, so your ruck is full of MREs, clothes, and
full kit and everything.
Full kit, radios, and all kinds of shit. So the standard is like 35 pounds, 40 pounds for a ruck, but there's also, you got to put the radios in, you got to put the batteries in your ruck and all that shit. So now, just as easily as a ruck can go from 40 pounds to 80 pounds on a ruck march, because you got to put water and all kinds of shit in it, you're dragging that down with you as well.
When you're flying or when you're going down, though, it doesn't feel like, I'm struggling to articulate it, but it doesn't feel a certain way. Like, it doesn't feel heavier on you, or does it feel physically exhausting, or what does it feel like when you have extra stuff?
Well, I mean, the ruck is clipped on. There's a harness for the ruck, and you clip it onto your harness with the parachute on your body. And there's some D rings that you put it on, and it's around, and people are going to probably eat me in the comments on this. It's probably around somewhere around your midsection where you actually clip it on, and that, so you attach it there, and then there's a rope. I forgot.
Don't worry about people roasting you in the comments. I don't get that many views yet.
Neither do I, man. Neither do I.
I think it's somebody that wished they committed suicide, though, in a recent comment. So there's we're starting to move up in the world, I guess. We're getting some haters. I'm
jealous. I haven't gotten that yet.
You really? You haven't no death threats, no calling you nobody's calling you a piece of shit for being an influencer or nothing like that, or
not really. No, I mean, because nobody really pays attention to me, so I'm
you have
just
a bigger
like,
follower than I do, though. That surprises me.
I don't know, man. People, I mean, I don't want to say people don't hate me, because I'm sure a lot of people do, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people fucking hate me, which is great. I love it. If I can,
that comes with being glamorous.
You know what I'm saying? You know, haters gonna hate, but that's cool.
Can't have a million without a few L's. Am I wrong?
Yeah, because if someone tells me you should go kill yourself, I'm like, don't tempt me with a good time, because
I got my 9mm literally 2 feet from me, by the way.
Yeah.
So, hey, live on camera.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna fucking live stream that shit.
Cock block me one more time, Leo. Let's see if I can hold it in. But anyway,
shit. So the ruck, I mean, as soon as you're in the air, at some point, you learn to you got to release your lever and release your equipment. What that does is it creates extra weight at the bottom. So it's up on top of you, your weapon and your ruck. It's up on top of you. You hit a couple things. You release your shit in the front, weapon on the side, and all it does, it free falls down. It sticks. It like stops. It suddenly stops. So it pulls you down a little bit faster. And as you're going down, it pulls you down. It initially pulls you down a little bit fast. You feel the jolt, and then it pulls you down a little bit faster.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's an experience for sure. But after a couple of years of doing it, you're like, all right, I don't need to keep doing this. My knees are bad enough.
Yeah, we're not landing in Normandy anytime soon. We're not. I don't even. Now that I think of it, especially with Iran war going, do we really need paratroopers or paratroopers anymore, or anything airborne?
I mean, that's something that's long been debated. However, I know in World War II it was. I think according to now somebody's gonna have to fact check me on this, but according to the Geneva Convention, shooting paratroopers in flight is illegal.
Really?
And is considered a war crime. So the point of airborne is pretty much just to have the ability to deploy X number of Army personnel to a certain country, any given country, in a span of like 72, 68 hours or something like that.
Mhm.
It's the readiness threat of another country. Like, fuck around, we're going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess it's okay, if you're airborne, but like that's a war crime though to shoot paratroopers while they're gliding down.
Yeah, because they're essentially defenseless. I get it. I get what you're saying.
Because you know what? Bring the controversy if you want to call me ignorant. Isn't the whole point of war is to make your enemy defenseless? I thought the idea was to impose your will on people. That isn't that essentially what it is? Like,
I mean, when we're getting into it, the point of a war is to. I mean, you can define war however you want, right? However, you said
CDP 1, which I do have in my bookshelf, by the way. If you guys want to quote and fact check me, I am prepared. The job knowledge is not left. Continue, please.
You said the point of war is to render your enemy defenseless. How can you render your enemy defenseless if he's already defenseless, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we have rules of engagement. You can't do certain things. You can't shoot certain people in certain places. You can't drop. You can't have drones drop bombs in certain locations. Or, I mean, that's how it was in Afghanistan. You can't. A drone can't fucking drop a bomb if it's near a school, near a forest, near this, near that. You can't do a lot of fucking things. Bridge, random shit. I saw a lot of random shit in my second deployment that were very questionable. But that's what we go into the rules of engagement and the Geneva Convention. I mean, I understand it. It makes sense if you're just like a 20-year-old, 18-year-old kid and your country's being invaded and you're like, they're up in the air. Like, why can't I just fucking shoot them? And somebody's like, you got to wait till they get on the ground.
Are we saying that Call of Duty and Black Ops, that what's the word I'm looking for? That they endorse war crimes because you can do it in the video game. For some reason, we have a problem with the no Russian mission, but we have no problem with shooting paratroopers out of the air. I find that really odd.
Listen, all I know is that Call of Duty prepared me for deployment.
Yes.
It prepared me for deployment, especially with Black Ops 6. If I had Black Ops 6 when I was coming in, I would have been prepared for a big ass fucking monster.
I never played the Black Ops series as a kid, so I never played it. So I feel terrible not knowing. Well, I did play one game, I think. Wasn't there one where you're in Vietnam?
Probably. That was like back in the old days. But I'm talking Black Ops 6 was the last one that came out, which was really weird. It was like at the end, I've seen clips of it, and once I saw clips of this fucking giant monster, I was like, all right, man, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck? I can tolerate zombies, but what the fuck are we doing with a huge ass monster?
I mean, it would be cool though if we did face a real world scenario where like the Chupacabra, King Kong, something from like Rampage, Total Destruction, Godzilla.
Like all the myths just randomly came to life.
Yeah, even just one of them. It'd be interesting to see.
I'm not gonna lie.
Is there a protocol? Like, I mean, realistically, how would the government react if just a wild animal? You can't call animal control.
No, dude, I think they'd be scrambling to figure out who's gonna fucking bite the bullet.
That's true. Yeah,
they'd be scrambling to figure out who the fuck is gonna take this one. They're like, do we? Yeah,
because if you screw it. Because there's not really a right way to handle. Like if King Kong went through New York right now, granted you can have whatever opinions about Zoran Mamdani that you may have.
I was not gonna touch that one, but okay.
So yeah, I didn't mean to bring it up politically. I mean, I could go down a very big deal with this one. But anyway,
let's not.
But it's like even if you don't like him, is there really a right answer that we expect of him to bring down King Kong? Like realistic. If he did the text, if he followed up with the movies, I would have respect for him as a right winger just because, like, you know what? He's culturally savvy. He saw the movies, he did his homework, he deployed the planes and shot them down. I'll give him credit for that.
Oh man, I don't know. That would be interesting. I'd like to see that. Not because of the destruction. It'd be like Avengers level destruction, but I just like to see how people handle things, and it's never what you expect. It's never what you think is going to happen. But
Bro,
it's the world we're living now.
Influencers out there like getting killed, just trying to film them out there. Just
Hey guys, I'm here in New York. Godzilla's attacking. It fucking sucks.
well, now that you mention it, there's actually this is a good one. There's a really good movie I think that really tried to address something like that. Do you remember Cloverfield?
Yeah, that was such a stupid fucking movie, and I'm so pissed that
You
I watched
ruined
it.
my whole topic. I thought that was a great example. That was a great.
I thought it was the stupidest fucking movie in the world,
Okay, well,
aside from March of the Penguins and Lord of the Rings. And you can fucking quote me on that shit. Lord of the Rings fucking sucks.
What in the world? Okay. So we have some things to talk about here. Which one was March of the Penguins, though?
It was a National Geographic documentary where penguins go from one side of the ice to the other.
Okay, all right. I can't speak to that one. I'm getting into Lord of the Rings now, so don't spoil anything, even though we kind of know what happens. It's very culturally relevant. But why is Cloverfield a bad film? I would love to hear this.
I just remember watching it in the movie theater and the ending was like a big foot at the end of like two glass doors, and then the screen went blank. I might be thinking of The Mist. I don't remember, but I just remember walking out of that movie theater being, that movie fucking sucked, and I will never watch that again. And I haven't, because it's fucking stupid.
Okay, let's clarify this, because I don't want to get controversial or confrontational here, but we're talking Cloverfield, where it was a monster that broke through New York City. But they did a good job of hiding what it was, and the whole movie was filmed through like the lens of a guy's phone, and it was like him, his brother, and his friends trying to evacuate New York, and they couldn't get out, and there was like little mini monsters going through, and the army and the National Guard came in to try to.
Yeah, and the last scene was like the phone on the ground, watching like two glass doors of what looked like a supermarket or something.
So, spoiler alert for people: if they ended up dying. But
yeah, that was stupid.
What?
Listen.
Wait a minute. So, are you a fan of cliche endings? I mean, or because that wasn't really cliche. There's usually always people escape, or the good guy gets what they want, but the main characters die.
Listen, main characters die all the time. Main characters died in Instructions Not Included. Spoiler alert. I cried about 3 times during Toy Story 3.
Wait, died from Toy Story 3?
When they almost died. I cried in the movie theater when what's his name? They were in the incinerator in the dumpster, and they saw that big ball of flame, and then they all grabbed each other's hand, and I'm like, this is it, man. This is fucking it for them. I'm like, oh shit. I'm in the movie theater. I'm probably 18, 19. I'm in the fucking movie theater, right? And I'm like, oh shit. Well, everybody's like, oh fuck. And then when the Martians came in with the fucking claw, and they're like, the claw, everybody was like, oh fuck yeah, dude. We were all happy. I was fucking,
that was cinema.
Tears coming down my face. I fucking cried on that. That wasn't the ending, but that was kind of like a cliche thing in Wall-E when I'm telling you right now, if you tell me that you didn't cry during Wall-E or in Up, when in the first fucking 5 minutes of Up, you're a garbage fucking person.
I didn't cry during Up, but I definitely, like, it's in the feels. Don't get me wrong.
First time I can't watch that fucking movie, but I can't watch that movie because of the first 5 minutes. But in Wall-E, when Eve rebuilt Wall-E and he didn't recognize her, I lost my fucking shit. I was fucking pissed. Listen, I guess you could say I'm a sucker for cliche endings. However, Cloverfield to me just didn't make any goddamn sense. Okay, there's something terrorizing the whole fucking United States, the state of fucking New York. Got it. Let it fucking take New York. Who gives a fuck? Yes. But you're not going to tell us what it is, and you're just going to say everybody died? Go fuck yourself.
But that's part of the suspense, is like you get like a back shot from a helicopter overseeing it, and you're like, but you don't know, really. And then they have a combat shootout with the National Guard, and they see that on the camera, and one of the monsters gets him. Yeah,
the National Guard's gonna take care of that, dude. We're gonna send specialist Kearns to fucking take care of that shit.
Isn't it insane how even in Hollywood they still won't send the Marines, the active duty Marines, anywhere, but they always send the reservists, the National Guard, everyone else who is not doing this 100% of the time.
That's right. It's always the Army. Yeah, I never noticed. I never noticed that until now.
Yeah. How convenient of you to not pay attention to us. Why do I have to be the crusader to bring this up? Active duty Marines train the hardest. We're told we're the first to, you know what? I'm gonna have to say it. Marines are the first to fight is the biggest bullshit lie that every recruiter tells the Marines. We are never the first to fight. For some reason, they put us with the what was it? The LA riots. They had us do that to help out, like maybe a little bit on the border. But everyone else gets everything, and it's insane to me. Isn't there a claim to fame also that they were the first ones in Fallujah? That wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not too sure about that.
Can't remember if it's Fallujah or Iraq, but it was one of those where they're like, yeah, we were the first ones in. And it's like, well, yeah, once the Army secured everything, so. Hey, but listen, I'm saying from the walls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. Any climb in place after the Army shows up.
Yeah. Oh,
they say that if the Army and the Navy show up to heaven, or I forget how the verse goes, but they'll find that the streets are guarded by the Marines. Did the Army clear it out before the Marines had to go guard it?
I mean, that's kind of how it happens.
Did we bomb heaven because we think they have a nuclear weapon? Did we launch an air campaign in heaven and overthrow Jesus Christ because he is a nuclear weapon and he's a threat to Israel?
Listen,
wouldn't that be an insane conspiracy?
That they bombed heaven. There was some pastor in Africa that was selling plots of land, or no, I think it was Mexico that was selling plots of land in heaven. I love that shit. It's so fucking hilarious to me.
Wait, say that again? That there'll be plots of land in heaven?
There was some pastor, I can't remember if it was in Africa or in Mexico, but some pastor was selling plots of land in heaven. Sounds weird. It's insane. I can't remember specifically what country, but they were selling plots of land in heaven for like, I don't know, like $10,000 or some shit. It was weird. It's just one of those culty church groups. You know, I don't want to insult anybody. You know, I don't give a fuck. It's one of those. If you lose your fucking life insurance, or if you lose your life savings because you were saving up for a plot of land in heaven, you probably deserve it. I mean, I don't care.
It's going to be an awkward day at the pearly gates when you go to cash that deed in and it turns out it's null and void.
Yeah, speaking of null and void and pearly gates, man, fucking Death died today. Chuck Norris took over for Death today.
I found out about that news, I would say pretty late, but I had a friend of mine, he sent me a meme that said Chuck's down, I'm going in or something like that, and I forget the reference to it, but I'm like, okay. And then I actually look at the news, I'm like, holy shit, that's an actual... Now I get why it's that.
Yeah, dude. Death needed a rest, so Chuck Norris is like, I got you, dude.
You know, Death had to take Chuck Norris in his sleep because if he tried to take him while he was awake, wouldn't have won. He would have
gotten his ass beat. And that's one death that I think is gonna survive through meme culture. One death that I'm upset that hasn't survived meme culture is Jerry Springer's death. I love Jerry Springer. I miss Jerry Springer.
We forgot about him so quick.
Oh, he was so fucking great. I loved it. It was awesome.
Did you ever see his it wasn't the ending because I think he was still filming it even when he passed, but did you ever see his message that he shared on the 25th anniversary? It was so heartwarming, such a heartfelt message that he shared.
No, he always ends his show, and I think it's beautiful that even after all the controversy, whether you want to believe that it's staged or not, even after all the controversy, he always shares a heartfelt message, and he always caps it off by saying, and does something along the lines of like, as always, take care of yourself and each other. And I think that's absolutely beautiful.
It really is. Yeah. I add on to it because a lot of it'll be family drama. But, you know,
it's like my brother slept with my sister and now I'm pissed. Well, who are you? Well, I'm the cousin. It's like, what the fuck?
The funniest one I think I remember this was like early 2000s when they were doing it. This guy was he was like I think his story was he was online. This was the early days of internet dating, online dating. He said that he was messaging this girl that he was like crazy for. He was in love with her, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you know, I would go to the library every day, and you know, and I would message her. I'd spend some time on the computer, and he looked You could tell he was like a little like punkish, but he was not. He was a little anxious to talk with her, and he came with a little thing of flowers. He seemed pretty, gentlemanly, I guess you would say, for it. And he's like, yeah, I really want to meet her and I want to impress her, And he's got his little thing of flowers and he's kind of somewhat suited up. And what he doesn't know is that the woman that he was texting is actually a man. And you can
I love those.
As a guy. And so Jerry Springer brings him out and he's like, hey, I wanted to ask you, if you wanted to go out sometime or something like that. And he goes, Brad, I have to tell you, I'm a man. And the whole crowd is just like, you can hear a couple laughs in the background, but it's dead silent for like 10 seconds. And I swear to God, he goes, I'll try anything once.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they just start making out, and the crowd is just like,
yeah. Oh, it's a classic. Oh, fuck, that's a classic. That's a good one. Oh, shit.
Cake is still cake, even with a candle, gentlemen.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's the Marines for you.
Yeah, I don't take credit for that one, but I will use that if anybody asks me about what I think about Thailand and going there.
Jesus Christ. Oh, fuck. How the fuck did we get here?
I don't know. I really don't know. But the sad reality is look, you can say this is not professional, but what we're revealing is truth here. These are the people who go fight and die and really, keep the foundation of Western civilization alive. If you want to play with dogs, you're going to get fleas. This is who we are.
Yeah, that's weird that you went with dogs, but I'll accept it.
Well, devil dogs, I think.
Oh, got it. Oh,
and I want to give one shout out real quick though. JD Vance. You can sit here and pretend that you're this professional, you're this Yale law graduate, but never forget where you came from. This is, I think, my 4th episode where I have desperately begged you to get on my show because I need views, I need money. Israel is sending influencers $7,000 a post. You can't get your boy a hookup, not once, not even Leo. The stuff that we've never done. The text message, the drunken text messages I've left you, the voicemails of me sobbing, crying my heart out, begging you to get on the show. I may not agree with you on everything. I know you're a controversial pig. You're an industry plant, but you can't get on my show. You can't get on. Here's what's going to happen, Leo. Here's what's going to happen with JD. I want you to know this, JD. We already know they're propping you up to run in 2028. Erica Kirk, who was a grieving widow, still had the composure to say we're going to get you in office in 2028 despite losing your husband. Everyone's going to put you. You're going to run in 2028, and what's going to happen is you're going to lose to some boomer conservative, somebody like Marco Rubio, like a Lindsey Graham. You're going to lose horribly. You're going to be one of the biggest flops in political history in the United States. And you're going to be looking back at this and going, where did I go wrong? And it's only then that you're going to look at my messages, my blocked profile, everything that I've sent you, and you're going to realize that it's because you didn't come on 4 years a slave that you lost. I don't know where I got that from. I don't know where I came out with that one, but I just needed to say that to Mr. Vance.
Yeah, so being a mechanic really sucked a lot.
I love what I do. Yes, Motor T. You were in Motor T, if I'm not mistaken, or is that the name for it in the Army?
After this whole random by JD Vance, I'm just like, yeah, being mechanic fucking sucked, dude. Oh, fuck. Holy shit. Wow, we're going on a long fucking tangent there.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder at all, but
you're fine, dude. That was hilarious. I was just in the first 5 seconds of that rant, I'm like, I know what I'm gonna do.
You're just gonna let me take the steering wheel and take its course.
I'm just gonna let you take the wheel wherever it needs to go, and then I'm just gonna be like, we hit a tree, dude.
This is how you know I'm hanging out with my girl too much. I'm like doing this with my hands. I'm doing the.
You're turning gay. That happens. Yeah. When you're in a relationship, you start to you start to get each other's abnormalities or isms, if you call it, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's right. Now, we did talk about this a little bit, but to actually stick to the motor T subject. So this was your, I believe, first 8 years that you were in. You were a mechanic.
Yeah, a couple of years into it. I mean, yeah, like 8 or 9 years of my Army career was just being a mechanic. It sucked, man. I fucking hated every bit of it. Excuse me. Yeah, it sucked. I mean, you're just working on vehicles all the time, and when you're in the field, what I later found out once I moved over to special operations is you have an actual mission, right? Mission is this, and then because of training situations, your fob gets blown up or you get incoming fire or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it. You do land nav, you do all these things and shit like that. But what sucked is that when I was a mechanic, we didn't do that. We set up our maintenance tent and we worked on vehicles, which sucked so fucking bad. I hated it. I remember in JRTC, do you guys have JRTC where you go somewhere for a month, train there, and then in to get ready for a deployment or something?
Wait, ROTC? Is that what you said?
JRTC. It's Joint Readiness Training Center. It's basically like simulating war or a wartime environment, right? So we'd go to JRTC for a month, train there, and then I remember at some point, it's in the middle of fucking Louisiana, and I remember at some point I had to change 5 water pumps on Humvees. Not at once. I had some guy helping me, but I had to change 5 water pumps in the fucking rain, and I couldn't move these fucking vehicles because the water pump was fucked and it had no belt, and it sucked, and I hated every bit of it, and it just sucked a lot. I mean, you smell like grease, you smell like oil, you smell like all kinds of shit, and then you run into infantry dudes, which I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. No offense. A little bit of offense.
Unleash, Leo.
Infantry dudes are dumb as fuck. I mean, infantry dudes are just dumb, right? You tell them to put some sort of fuel in it. You're like, put diesel in this bitch. They come back. They're like, yeah, it won't start no more. And you're like, what the fuck? What'd you do to it? I just put gas in it.
Put sugar in the engine like you asked me, Leo. I don't know why it's not working.
I put gas in it and got no gas. But they put fucking gas in it, and they're like, well, it doesn't work anymore. And you're just like, well, this is fucking JP8. This is not fucking diesel. So now we have to do a whole fucking a full ass engine swap, and it fucking sucks. And now the commander is breathing down my neck and breathing down the fucking everybody else's neck, being like, why the fuck isn't our truck ready? Why the fuck isn't our truck ready? Because the reality is, infantry battalions or infantry companies are like, hey, our truck's down. They're like, what is it down for? I don't know. Got it. Where is it at? It's with the mechanics. They're working on it. Got it. When it gets to the mechanics, you gotta find out what's wrong with it, because 9 times out of 10, the guys don't know what's actually wrong with it, right? Yeah. It could be as easy as it won't start, which happens a lot. It won't start, it needs a new battery, or the battery needs to be recharged, or it's something else, or it's something else, or it's something else. We got to figure out what that is, right? So once we figure out what that is, not only do we have to see if this, once we figure out what that is, we have to figure out how are we going to fix this. Got it. Okay, we figured out how we're going to fix this. Do we have the parts to fucking fix it? 9 times out of 10, we don't. Mm-hmm. And if we don't have to get the parts, got it. We'll order the parts, and then we'll order the parts. We'll take everything out, order the parts, and then by the time the parts come in, hopefully we'll be able, you'll get your fucking truck back. So now you're looking at 1 week, 2 weeks, and the fucking commander or the first sergeant is like, yo, this fucking truck came in for service. Like, it's just supposed to be a simple oil change. And I'm like, my guy, this whole engine is out. What do you mean? My brother in Christ, the whole engine is fucking out. Like, this is not one of those, it's not a quick lube place where you're just like, I need an oil change. Like, imagine if you took your car to an oil change place and they're like, yeah, it's just going to be like 5-10 minutes. And you're like, cool. And then next thing you know, you're like, dude, it's been an hour. And then they're like, that you don't have an engine in this car. And you're like, well, what the fuck do you mean? I brought it in here. And they're like, I don't know how, but there's no fucking engine in here, right? It's just one of those things where everybody is shitting on the mechanics and they're like, why the fuck isn't this happening? What the fuck is going on? And I'm like, do you want to take this goddamn engine out? I don't think you do, but feel free. And then they're like, well, what can we do to make this better? What can we do to make the process go faster, because when the infantry guys, when we tell them what's actually wrong, they don't really know. I mean, a lot of guys know what the fuck is going on, and they're able to communicate that.
Yeah,
that's not often the case. They're just like, I don't know, it's fucking down with the mechanics. They can tell you what the fuck is going on with it.
It just seems like, I guess if you're a mechanic, there's I mean, I get what you're saying, because like when you have a problem, you know, like a lot of human beings, we want to fix it, we want to be able to do it, but when it's out of our control, when we have to rely on, you know, either someone else, you know, in this case, you guys to do it, we get impatient, because like we don't want to run into more problems. We don't want to really understand the entire process. Sometimes it's just like, we have a problem, just fix it. We just want it to stay simplistic.
Right. Yeah. You want the easiest solution, which is understandable, but at the same time, you might tell us that, hey, the truck doesn't start. All right, cool. It could be an easy fix. We might need to change the batteries. We might need to charge the batteries. And then once we charge the batteries and we get new batteries in there, oh shit, guess what? The starter's fucked up, or something else is fucked up, And the worst part is, so the smallest thing can fuck up a vehicle. For instance, on a Humvee, the engine cover inside the actual Humvee, inside the cab of the Humvee, if that seal is torn or broken or fucked up, then exhaust fumes go into the vehicle and can cause monoxide poisoning, kill someone, make someone go to sleep. Either one. That's a deadline. You're not going to get that truck up and running. Do we have that seal? Probably not. A window, a window being broken, a mirror missing. What the smallest fucking things can deadline a vehicle and make it not mission capable. A lot of people don't know that. It's just one of those things that you're just going to have to either get a little bit more knowledge on, which the mechanics, I was always happy to be like, listen, there's actually wrong with your truck. And they're like, but we did this and this and this. Well, yeah, you did. Like, the tire won't spin. Okay, cool. The tire's not spinning. It's probably the control arm. Okay, well, look, we switched the control. We took the control arm off. We found some other things. It's actually a whole diff. You know, it's actually differential. Now we got to take that out. You can communicate that with some people, not all the time. And you can communicate that to some people, I would say, but not all the people that you communicate that to can communicate that higher up.
So while you have the floor, you could advise the infantry community that is listening. What can they do to make your guys' life easier, which would in turn, how can they help you help them?
Communicate the problems a lot faster, or communicate the problems a lot more effectively, right? Because everybody knows Mondays are PMCS days, and mostly people just kick the tires. It's good to go, right? Just do a quick PMCS. If something doesn't sound right, hey, this isn't good, or is this a problem? No, it's not a problem. Okay, we'll check it out. And then continually check up on your vehicles. Because a lot of times what will happen is you'll have the private just be like, hey, this is wrong with the vehicle, or the mechanic give us 5988 and be like, it doesn't work or whatever. And then that private tells the specialist it's with the mechanics. But the mechanic told the private exactly what's wrong with it. But the private's like, hey, the vehicle's with the mechanics. And then the specialist is like, okay, staff sergeant, platoon sergeant, whatever it is, the vehicle's with the mechanics. And that's all that's going down the line. Yeah. When the mechanics are like, yeah, you for some reason put coolant in the engine, and now we have to take out the whole engine, you know, and nobody communicates that up because nobody wants to get fucked up for that. So if there's an actual problem, just fucking ask what the problem is, understand what it is, and then effectively communicate that up the chain. So that way, one, your section's not getting fucking yelled at for not having your truck ready, because one person knows what the fuck is wrong with it, and they're at sick call, they got appointments, whatever it is. It's just a lot less headache if one person knows what's going on and can effectively communicate that way up. A lot less headache.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I love the example you bring up too, because it's like if somebody genuinely fucks up and then they keep the situation hidden, it just only exacerbates it. But the culture of failure, though, that we have, like I assume it might be the same in the Army, but it's just like if you fuck up, you know, you're just paraded, you're socially put on blast in front of everybody for screwing up. So it's like there's every incentive to almost not tell the problem in a lot of ways. But I see how that just, it ultimately, it adds a snowball effect for you guys.
Yeah, nobody wants to admit that they put JP8 in a Humvee that takes diesel, right? Because nobody knows who fucking filled it up. Because maybe one day the section lead or the commander was like, "Hey, we need to get the vehicles fueled up." They fueled up the vehicles, and then you're going out to the field, and then your truck won't start, or it just stopped. And I don't know why. Who filled up the vehicle last? Well, I don't know, right? So now it starts to get. It starts to get into a lot of those unknowns where if you don't know who did it, but the mechanics are telling you, "Hey, we got to take the whole fucking engine out because somebody put JP8 instead of diesel and ran it for like 20 minutes, and now we got to fucking replace it." And they're like, "Well, it's in the shop for some reason. I don't know."
Was this I still can't make out what this is though, but there's a photo, there's a Humvee, and then there's something. I guess it looks like it grated the hood of it.
Oh, that's a good example. Hold on, let me again pull that bullshit up. Where is it? All right.
But I trust you'll pull it up.
So can you see that?
Yes, I can.
So that is the front of a Humvee, and that is the back of a Hemet wrecker, right? That's the towing part of a Hemet wrecker. The story, the reason why I sent you that one is because one time I went to work, I got to work, and my what is it, squad leader,
yeah,
was like, he was in E6. Fucking hated that guy. I hope he's in fucking jail or living under a bridge. He was incredibly racist, but he was like, "Hey, I need you to take this truck over to this lot, over to this other unit." And I was like, "Cool. Let me go get it hooked up." And he's like, "I already hooked it up for you." And I was like, "No, put it on the ground." And he's like, "No, I already hooked it up for you. Just drive it." And I was like, "Fuck no, dude. I'm not driving this shit." And then he's like, "Why? I hooked it up. You don't fucking trust me? You got to fucking pull it." And I was like, no, man. You put it on the fucking ground and I'll hook it up, because I'm not going to trust somebody. I'm not going to take somebody else's word that they did it. That's just me. That's just me. I don't care. Like, you got more experience than me. Got it. Understand. Cool. I didn't physically have anything to do with this, and I'm not going to get blamed for anything that happens. Okay. So I told him I'm not doing it. And so he was pissed off. And he went to go tell Chief. Chief was like, "Just fucking take it, man." And I was like, "No, dude, I'm not fucking." And it was a whole fucking thing. And to the point where I was like, "Fine, listen, I'll fucking take it. But if anything fucking happens, just know I'm not responsible. He hooked it up and I had nothing to do with this." All parties involved were like, "Fine, stop bitching, go ahead." I pulled no less than 15 feet at the most, and that's a conservative 15 feet. Yeah. And the whole rigging just fell and damaged the fucking hood. And I was like, this is exactly, and I went back to my squad leader. I was like, this is exactly why I didn't want to fucking take this, because look what fucking happened. He's like, "What the fuck did you do?" And I was like, "I didn't do a goddamn thing." Yeah. They want to do a statement of charges, and I was like, "No, absolutely fucking not," because we all were here, and one of the other clerks was there, and the LT was there, and all this shit. There was enough people there to be like, "You did say you hooked it up," and he said he didn't fucking do it, and he said he made a whole deal about how he didn't want to fucking do it. So fucking, all right, let's just chalk it up to a mistake. And I was like, "Dude, fuck this. I'm not taking blame for that."
No, yeah, I fully agree with you. Did I'm blanking out on what I was going to ask with that, but yeah. But it sounds like you had ample proof with everybody backing you up on.
Yeah, I made a big deal about it because I knew what the risk was, and I wasn't willing to take that risk. And that was one of the moments where it paid off to not be willing to take that risk, because if it were, I would have had to pay for that because of my own negligence. It's like one of my first squad leader when I was in the ASEC, my very first squad leader told me, "You know how you have lockers in your company?"
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, you have like lockers for your equipment in your company.
Lockers for, like wall lockers or stuff like that.
Yeah, like equipment for your, like in your cough area.
Yeah.
So I was told, never put your CIF in your room, never put it in your car. The only safe place is the lockers at the cough. My God, cool. about 2 days before a fucking an actual fucking deployment, my locker gets broken into. My locker gets fucking broken into, and my platoon sergeant blames me.
Mhm.
He blamed me. He was like, "You should have fucking known that this was not a secure area." And I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean? What the fuck do you mean? This is one, it's got a lock, and the lock wasn't broken. That's the worst part. This is under a lock in a place that's supposed to have staff duty or some sort of company duty, like some sort of 24-hour watch."
So
And
is this like your guys' barracks or something like that, or where you?
this was under our actual company. This was under our company headquarters.
Jesus. And
This
someone
is-
still got away with that, with like the duty being there, the company,
Someone still got away with it, and my fucking and we did a fucking report. We did a 15-6 and all that shit, whatever it was, the CID report. And my squad leader wanted to give me a statement of charges, and I was like, "Dude, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I got to pay for everything that got stolen from not only for me, but in the company area? This is fucking bullshit." And he found it, and later on, like someone was like, you can't charge him for his shit getting stolen in the company area. Like, that's fucked up. And so he still gave me a counseling statement for getting my shit stolen,
Mhm.
which I thought was very stupid. I'm like, "You're the one that told me to fucking put my shit here. How are you telling me that I fucked up by putting my shit exactly where you told me?"
yeah, exactly. It's kind of a little bit on you guys, not to be actually, it's on you guys. I mean, really.
It's fucking stupid. I was pissed off, but I mean,
It sounds like we have some people. I know you said you didn't want to invite the PJ onto your show because you didn't want to have like controversy or people accusing each other of being liars and stuff like that. But I think we should bring on a few people onto your show just so you can call other people a liar, call them out, take out vent that anger and frustration.
nah, dude. All I can do now is just hope they're living under a bridge. I know they're not, which pisses me off, but I know that at some point, I'm gonna live longer than them, and that's all I can hope for. That's all I can really hope for.
Do you maintain a healthy diet in the hopes that you'll live long enough to piss on their graves?
I maintain a healthy diet. I maintain a healthy enough diet to where I can drink a relatively good amount.
That's also amply fair.
That's my goal. That's my goals right there. Where I, not towards liver. I'm not drinking towards liver failure, but I'm drinking to just enough to where I can have fun, but
Yes.
also, just kind of not feel like a fat piece of shit in the morning. every
Enough for the
morning.
buzz to kick in and warm up the personality.
Yeah. That's pretty much that's all it's about.
I get a picture. Oh, speaking of things to indulge in, I'm trying not to splurge on DoorDash over these past couple months here, but you sent me 2 random pictures of food that look damn good.
So,
Delicious.
so the first one I'll show you. It's the pie one, right? It's the one that looks like a pie.
Yeah, pull them up, please. I never thought we'd be talking about food and cuisine on this show, but I got to hear some of our personalities here. I digress.
So can you see that right there?
I'm starving. This stuff looks good.
That's a tuna pie.
A tuna pie.
Is disgusting. I had that when I was in special operations, and I went to a country pro. It was we did it was me and my first sergeant that we took a trip to Uruguay. Not like a fun trip. We went to Uruguay for work, and the embassy guy. It was one of our days during lunch. The embassy guy was like, "Dude, they fucking love tuna pie here." And I was like, "Is this what I think it is?" And he's like, "It's tuna pie. They fucking love it." And I'm like, "That sounds disgusting." And he's like, he might have been pulling a fast one on me, but he's like, "You gotta try it, man. The locals fucking love it." And I'm like, I guess I'll eat it for the story, man. But I don't get it. This is a tuna pie, and what you're looking at is a tuna pie with like a little tiny side salad. It's just fucking romaine lettuce with some tomatoes on top. Nothing special. What this tastes like, it tastes like if you got pie crust and dumped like 3 cans of tuna on it, like 5 cans of tuna on it, and then put it in the oven and then took it out. There's no flavor, no fucking seasoning other than tuna. It was absolutely disgusting.
What? I was hoping there would be at least some type of flavoring, saute, seasonings on it, maybe peppers and onions in it, or something to add with it. You know what I mean?
I see something orange in there. That might be a carrot. I don't know, but it was disgusting. I was like, I'm not a fucking fan. And the embassy driver was like, dude, they fucking love it here. I'm like, this is disgusting. I fucking hate myself for this.
Yeah, they represent Latin America. I mean, what the heck? You're not doing a very good job of it, Uruguay. Come on.
Yeah, no, that was gross. And the other picture, oh fuck, where is
this
it?
actually does look kind of good.
Is it? Yeah, it's that one. Hold on, let me go ahead and close that one out.
Roast beef or
all right, so
eggs.
so we were in Uruguay. We're in Uruguay for a country program monitoring, for country program monitoring mission. So basically, all the money that the U.S. has donated to a certain country goes to programs, different things around the country, right? So our job was to make sure that all this money was accounted for, and there was no funding business, and to make sure that that like if there was a building, that if the United States donated $2 million to build a building or a kitchen in a mental health facility, then we had to make sure it was there. And it was, right? That was a real scenario. I think this is actually that day we drove, I don't know, 2-3 hours out to this place, and it was cold, so it's cold outside. The inside's hot because the heater's going on. We have to drive and all this shit. This is our lunch. And so what it is, it's a roll with mayonnaise, jalapenos, an egg, some cheese, ham, bacon, and skirt steak. And I'm going to tell you right now, that was only half of it. And I was getting the meat sweats like a motherfucker. My blood pressure must have raised. I don't know fucking how blood pressure works, but I was sweating as I was fucking eating it. I'm like, holy fucking shit, this is heavy. And on the way back, I'm like, dude, we're going to have to make a couple stops because I can't fucking do this shit right now. I am sweating fucking bullets in this fucking car.
Wait, when you say it's heavy, are we talking like just how greasy it is, or like the protein feel to it, or what?
Just how greasy it was, because you got to think, you got the grease of the bacon, you got the grease of the cheese. They make the eggs where the bacon was. There's not a lot of health standards up there, but I'm not gonna lie, it was good, but it was a fucking bomb for my stomach, and it was an interesting ride back trying to type up a report and trying to make sure I kept this down and did not throw up everywhere.
You're like low-key, like typing details of the sandwich into your report, not realizing it at all.
Dude, it was so bad. That was pretty much kind of how it was.
Why is my morning order a recipe for a sandwich? This doesn't make any sense.
It was a weird recipe for a sandwich. It wasn't bad. I encourage people to try it at home, but it might have just been me, but it was super fucking.
Is there a name for this? I wonder if there's like an Instagram recipe for the sandwich. I want to try it.
I think it was called chavito. It was a chavito, but it was heavy nonetheless. And speaking of Uruguay, so I went to Uruguay for a country program monitoring in Uruguay, and this is my first sergeant and I on the border of Brazil and Uruguay. And the fun fact about that trip was my luggage never made it to Uruguay. So we got to Uruguay. I can't remember how long we spent there. But as soon as I got there, the airline was like, yeah, we don't have your, like, we waited for the whole carousel to empty, and the luggage was like, the airline was like, yeah, we don't have it. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? So I filed the report, I filed the claim and all that shit. And first day, I did not have any fucking clothes, which would have sucked if the hotel was not directly connected by a tunnel to a mall. So I went to an H&M and bought clothes, bought underwear, socks, and I think I just bought underwear and socks. And then I think I bought a couple shirts too that did not fit me at all. They were so fucking small. I think that was one of the shirts. But the whole time I was just buying clothes because I didn't have, and I had to, and I couldn't just leave all these clothes. I had to buy fucking a suitcase to bring that shit back with me. And I was like, dude, fuck, man, I mean, that part of it sucked, but the whole trip was actually pretty great. The whole trip was actually pretty great, very insightful, very fun. We traveled pretty much throughout the whole country, and it was great. It was a great experience in special operations. I liked it. Would not change anything about that experience.
How was your Spanish when you Well, how was the Uruguayan Spanish, and then how was your Spanish when you spoke out there? Did you even use it?
Yeah, I was the main engager. Yeah, I was pretty much the lead engagement person there, because my first sergeant understood Spanish very well. He spoke Spanish very well. He's from, I think, Pennsylvania. Straight up white dude from Pennsylvania, blonde hair, blue eyes, looks like Fry from fucking Futurama. But but it's great dude, love him to death. But he super deep voice, knows very good Spanish, understands it very well. But we had an Air Force colonel there with us on that program for some reason, or on that mission for some reason, and he didn't really know Spanish, and it was a little bit overwhelming for him to be able to engage and translate, and then also write notes. So what we did was, the Air Force colonel was on his phone using Google Translate, reading as everybody was speaking, and my first sergeant was also taking notes with me more passively, and I was directly engaging whoever we were talking to. And I know we talked to like a 4-star general there at some point, the director of a hospital, the lady of like a kindergarten or a daycare center. Everybody that we talked to, I pretty much just took the lead on that one.
Okay.
And my Spanish, I mean, was okay. I'm a native speaker. The Uruguayan Spanish is it caught me off guard, because in Mexico, the Y's, anything with a Y or a double L is a yeah. It's a yeah sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. In Uruguay, they pronounce it a sh. It's a sh sound. So instead of ya vas a llegar, or like are you almost here, it's sha vas a llegar. And I was like, I need to adjust to that real quick.
Yeah, okay.
Need to adjust to that real quick. But no real borders there. That was a very, very fun trip. Learned a lot of the country. Found some shit we shouldn't have. But
what do you mean by that? This is all allegedly. I mean, you didn't. You can pretend you can share like a fictional story of things that.
So
like,
alleged
soldier found in a fictional country called.
So in a trip to Atropia, we may or may not have found, it's not proven, but in this fictional scenario, we may or may not have found a full list of a donation from a different country. I don't even know how to explain it, but a different power, a different country with a lot of influence in Southern America. We may have found a lot of donations, and we also may or may not have found one of their trucks with a satellite in the back of it on an Air Force base in this fictitious country.
Okay.
I'll tell you. I'll explain that offline. But that's the best way that I can. That's the best way that I can put it, without giving too much away. Because I'm pretty sure I don't think I signed an NDA. But we had to send that up on Red. We had to send up all the stuff on Red when we got back. We had to send it up. We had to really be careful.
We will allegedly try to kill the author of this fictitious story, will it?
No, not that one.
Okay.
Not that one. We had to write a report on everything that we found, and so we wrote a report on this on the green side. But I think we spent a couple, like 4 hours, trying to phrase it so it wouldn't get flagged on green, and so it wouldn't give too much away. But when we got back, we had to give a whole briefing on the red side about it.
Okay, I see. So what was the whole point of that mission? Like you said, it was a mission or something like that. What were you guys there for?
So yeah, the mission was so I was in civil affairs, and something that comes up not often, but yeah, something that comes up rarely is it's what's called a country program monitoring. And what that is, it's basically ODACA funds that go to the funds from the US that go to certain countries are monitored a certain way. I know, I get it. The U.S. government never lets money just fall out of their hands for no fucking reason, right?
Very responsible. Very,
yeah, very, very responsible. So our job was to have. We had a list of all the donations that were that were given. All the money went to this country for this. The money went to this country for firefighters, mental hospitals, or equipment for hospitals. Our job was to go in there to every single one of these places and verify that equipment was there, whether it was being used or not. 9 times out of 10, it was.
Okay.
So yeah, like a good example of that was like that $2 million kitchen in a mental health facility. It was really a mental health facility, and we got a tour of the whole thing with the guy who ran it. It was far as fuck. And once we got to the place, we inspected it, made sure it was good, and they were like, okay, what's going to shit here? What's bad with it? What's good with it? And they didn't really have many complaints. They did have some, but they were like, yeah, this is falling apart, this and that. We went to another part on the border of Brazil. That was a hospital, and it was fun, but at the same time, the hospital director was like, yeah, your EKG machines are right here, this machine is right here, and then he was giving a tour of the whole hospital. And as he was giving the tour of the whole hospital to fucking patient, he was stopping in the middle of like the tour to patients in their rooms, and he's like, hey, so you know the Americans are here, they're making sure that we're good. And then we're in the lobby where people are like waiting to get their prescriptions or whatever it might be, and then he just stops and he's like, hey, just so you guys know, the Americans are visiting us. And we're like, dude, shut the fuck up. What are you doing? It's not a secret that we're here, but we don't want to fucking tell everybody.
Yeah.
What the fuck that was
what if the monster from Cloverfield is on the loose? He knows where to get you guys.
Yeah, that was fun. We had to give a brief to the four-star general that we met, like I think the first or second day, about who we were, what we were doing, Cape's brief and stuff like that. And then after that, he was like, oh yeah, I got some gifts that your friends gave us. And we're like, our friends? Who? What friends from the US? And he's like, your friends from overseas, on the other side, the big country, on the other side of the puddle. And we're like, oh shit. And it was, I'll show you the pictures later, but it was very, very apparent and very explicit that he was like, yeah, they gave us this, they gave us that. And we're like, what about the stuff that he's like, oh yeah, they're in a conic somewhere. And we're like, all right, dude, we'll go fuck ourselves, but okay.
Wild times. Born. Mike still works, but yeah, sounds like I will ask probably one more before we get into, but was this like a heritage thing, or were you with like the Mexican, anybody, the Mexican flag picture that you guys got?
Let me see. Where is it? It's this one. So yeah, I love that picture and I want to frame it. Let me see if I can pull it up. So that picture was taken. Oh, this will go into one of the stories I want to tell you.
Okay.
So that picture was from a training exercise called Trade Winds. It's a multinational exercise. Countries of Belize, Mexico, U.S., 2 more other countries I can't remember. And some Marines were there, actually. Some U.S. Marines were there, too.
Okay.
Basically, what we did, our unit did there was we went in there and we trained Mexican Marine forces on civil affairs operations, what to do, how to do them, and what to look out for, and how to pretty much win people over, right? And so that's what we did, and that's the compound that we were on, which was a beautiful compound. What you're seeing behind us right here in this little yellow part was a pool, and that pool flowed from a natural spring way the fuck somewhere, and it was nice and cold. It was beautiful. That right there all the way in the background is the border of Belize. Right here in the background you can see the trees. That's Belize. So
okay.
we were right on the border. It was a great experience. It was an awesome mission. We didn't really have any slides, and so before the planning, I did the slides, and other teams had things that they wanted to do, but for some reason they didn't have them, or they didn't translate them, or whatever it was. And so I gave them my slides in order to do that. So we taught them on civil affairs operations. And what I thought would be a good idea is to exchange flags. So they got a U.S. flag, we got a Mexican flag, and it was fun. That gives way to one of the stories that I want to talk to you about, which was when we first got there. We arrived at a different compound, And I'm not going to say his name. We got to a different compound, and they were like, hey, where 7th group was at, and the guys were like, hey, you guys are, so the fighters, you guys are going that way. You guys are going to different compounds. So we're like, cool, sounds good. We'll get on the bus. We'll get all the shit in the bus. We got all the shit in the bus. We sat there, and the commander of the unit that was conducting training with 7th group and us, he was on the bus with us. He was going to take us to the destination. And so this fucking guy, I really want to say his name, but I can't. This fucking guy sits in the front of the bus with him, and he's trying to make conversation with him. I'm not saying this is a racist thing, but I should just point out that he's from Spain. He was born in Spain. He was raised in Spain, right?
Okay.
So he's in Mexico, and he's talking to him and shit like that. And then we just see the commander just get up and leave the bus. And then we're like, what the fuck happened? And we're like, hey, dude, what the fuck did you tell him? He's like, I don't know. I just asked him that how come when we're coming in, everything looks all nice, and then when you get into town, everybody looks poor as fuck. And then we're like, oh my God, dude.
To his defense, he is not wrong to ask that.
You don't ask that to military to military. You do not ask that. You don't just ask like, hey, how come everybody's poor as fuck? When you're when you're anticipating conducting training with them, dude, we were like, what the fuck are you doing? And so he says, I think he says this, and we kind of egg, and if I recall the events correctly, he says something that looks to piss off the command. Like, it just doesn't, it rattles him a little bit. He feels a little bit uncomfortable, but he kind of keeps talking to him. And then me and my buddy in the back were like, he's from Spain. Fuck him, dude. Fuck that guy. He's from Spain. He's just talking shit. We're saying this in Spanish. And the commander gets up and leaves. And so we're like, we didn't really know what he said until he told us. And we're like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. So we finally get to the compound. The commander does not go with us. We get to the compound. My buddy gets a shit ton of calls. And he's like, dude, you're about to get kicked out of country. And he's like, what? He's like, we just got here. And he's like, that dude is requesting, he's demanding to 7th group to get you the fuck out of here.
Wow.
And he's like, I didn't do anything. I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking why everybody's so poor. And then he looks at me and he's like, because everything. I was like, dude, listen, you're on your own with this one because you fucked that one up. We might have not made it better, but we definitely didn't start this fucking fight. We didn't start this. We might have poured a little bit of fucking gasoline on this, but we didn't start this fucking fire. And so he's shitting his fucking pants for a couple days. And finally, my buddy smooths things over. He's like, dude, you're staying, but trust me, just don't fucking talk to anybody else besides the classes because you're going to fuck everything up. This guy was demanding that he fucking be removed from country. I was like, holy shit, you're a fucking idiot. And he is still a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to your defense, it's like, if he's already that confident and, or just saying stuff like that right from the get-go, it's like, can you really trust him not to do it for the rest of the trip?
My thing is, a lot of people, I mean, when you're in special operations, people go to South America all the time and they get kicked out of country all the fucking time. But why do they get kicked out of country? They get kicked out of country because they were drunk, they were fucking around, something along the lines of booze and women. That's mainly the reasons why. Yeah. This guy almost got himself kicked out of country just because he asked a stupid question. I don't think I've ever heard about that in my fucking life.
Yeah, it's got to be a pretty damn stupid question to ask.
Yeah, that was fucking stupid. But he I think when I was medboarding, he ended up getting a divorce, and I will tell you this whole fucking story because it's a great story. He did end up getting a divorce when he got back from country when I was in the process of getting medboarded, and all this is true. And everybody can be like, "That's not what happened." I heard it from someone who's close to his wife, and at least 4 other people, and one of the people that was handling this actual investigation. Went to Colombia, deployed to Colombia for a couple months. Yep. Met someone. He's been married. Met someone. Got it, as we all do, right?
Yeah. I mean, can you really blame him?
You know what? I can't say that I do. I can't say that I do. But this, I mean, if you're gonna fuck around, the smart thing to do is to leave it there, leave it as it is, take it for what it, take it for what it was, and be like,
Yep.
you know what, I fucked up, but I'm gonna hope this doesn't come back and bite me in the ass. No, he decides, to keep in contact with this certain lady,
All right.
and so I will preface this that he used to treat his wife like shit. We were in the car one time going to this range, and his wife called him to drop off his lunch, and he's like, "We're going to this range," and blah blah blah. He's like, "Are you fucking stupid? Do I need to fucking spell?" I was like, "Dude, calm the fuck down. Like, that sucks." And he's like, "I talk to her like this all the fucking time," and I was like, "I'm just saying, it's making us feel a little bit uncomfortable."
Now, I don't want to. I haven't met this guy, so I want to be fair to him. Is his wife a complete piece of shit? I mean, is he justified in the way that he talks to her?
No, she looked like a sweet woman. She looked like the nicest, smallest, like little fucking sweet woman.
Okay.
And I was like, it sucked, but I mean, I'm not one to get in people's relationships, right? But that's the way. I just needed to preface that one,
Okay.
because of the events that are going to come later.
All right. Well, then fuck that guy. All right, it's official.
So he brought it back, and the story is that he was talking to her a little bit too much in his car, on the phone, FaceTiming her and all that shit, right? The girl that he left. And I guess he's got cameras in his car and in his house and everywhere around because he's fucking paranoid that everything got backed up to a cloud. And so his wife started realizing that he was spending a little bit too much time in his car. And she looked through those videos, figured out that he was talking to somebody else. And I don't know if she found the texts or videos or anything. But I do know that she has the full conversations of him having full conversations with somebody else in his car. And it was very much a romantic conversation.
Here's a good content idea, not to cut you off, Leo, but should we get in contact with this woman, get the recorded conversations, and then we just play it and then we just listen to it and give commentary on it? I think that would be like an episode of Cheaters.
I'd pay a lot of money for that. I would pay some money for that shit, dude. It's funny. Oh,
Sweet
man.
lady, if you're listening, if you can hear this.
Oh, man, I would love to hear those conversations. Just give commentary on that. So what she did was she gathered up all the evidence and she went to the battalion. She went straight to the battalion commander and said, "Hey, my husband is doing this and this and that. He's got back from deployment and this and this and this is happening. And I want to fucking talk to someone in charge. Like, I'm fucking pissed." Obviously not the same words, but she was like, "I'm fucking pissed and I'm taking it up to somebody in fucking charge." And so the battalion commander was like, "Who's your husband?" She's like, "This and this and that. This is his name." He's like, "Okay, wait, what unit did you say he was in?" She's like, "I don't know." He's like, "What language does he speak? Like, what does he work? Like, what language did he just deploy to?" And she's like, "He speaks Spanish. He's from Colombia." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you want that one over there." She went to the fucking wrong battalion, spilled the complete beans to someone. And then that guy was like, "This isn't the right place. It's actually that one."
So there's more people who know the story to help us.
Yeah. Man. So the funniest thing is that she had to go to explain to the right person what happened. I'm pretty sure you got a heads up after that. After that conversation,
imagine him breaking that news to someone like. So
that must have been
to the office. He's like, "Guys, I have some stuff to share."
Dude, that must have been a great conversation with the staff, and that must have been like one of those like, "Hey man, heads up, you got a pissed off wife coming at you." The guy must have been like, "Oh fuck, all right." Yep. So I think the end of the story is that he got divorced. But the thing that pissed me off the most is that one of the people that was very, very closely associated with this whole ordeal showed me a picture, and it was a picture of his GoFundMe to be able to afford to be able to try to get his kids back and try to live as a single dad whose kids got taken away from him. Yeah.
How much money was raised?
I don't think any money was raised, but I think he set the limit at like $10,000 or something. And I was like, dude, this guy is an absolute fucking piece of shit. I get it if, I mean,
I
listen,
say be ballsy. He should have raised that limit higher just to set the expectation.
it's absolute, it's a very ballsy move to be like, to know exactly what happened and to act like the victim, but that's just, you know, who he is. I have no remorse for him, but I don't wish any ill will on him. I just know you're a fucking idiot for many reasons, and this is one of them.
Yes. So, Leo, we are at the end. A lot of stuff we couldn't get into, but I mean, future collabs are always in the works. I always ask at the end of the show to anybody who's still in, what advice do you have to give to them? Give me 1 minute. My energy saver went off on my laptop, so I'm going to charge it just to make sure that we are guaranteed that you have that time.
Yep.
Do I even have an outlet for it? I'm very unprepared.
Oh yeah, this is your first one. This is your first one on a laptop in a long time, right?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get the live stream stuff going.
We'll just edit this out. You can just ask me again.
Yeah, do that. I do plan on listening anyway, so yeah, that'll work. Yeah. I get it this one. It doesn't reach. Okay, perfect. All right. So, Leo, all right, floor is yours. What advice do you give?
I mean, man, that's a rough one. Any advice that I can give to anybody is just be resilient. And I hit on resiliency a lot. I do hit on resiliency a lot because that's pretty much what kept me in the Army for as long as I could, until pretty much essentially the brakes fell off. But being resilient doesn't necessarily mean how fast you can bounce back. It's how much you can learn from something that happened and what you can do to be prepared if something else happens. Right? It's not how fast the bounce back happens, it's how you come out of it, to me, right? So being resilient is a huge part of, I think, being in the military. I think you need resilience in order to be able to suffer through the dumbest fucking things that you could do and some of the most horrific things that you can see and you can experience. It's one of those things that you have no other choice. On top of that, I would also say laugh as hard and as frequently as you can, because we don't have a lot of, I mean, one, we don't have a lot of time, and if you're in the military, you're on borrowed time as well. I never thought I didn't plan on living this long, right? So laugh as hard as you can, laugh as much as you can, because sometimes you have no other choice than to keep going in wet boots. And that's my closing argument.
I love that one. But even though we're not even guaranteed until tomorrow, though, Leo, with the time that you are guaranteed for the next however many seconds, plug your show, plug anything you want to promote. Where can people find you?
People can find me on YouTube and Spotify, Wetboots Pod or Wetboots Podcast on YouTube, Spotify. I'm everywhere. I'm on TikTok. I don't post on TikTok too much. I mainly find recipes for that one. And I'm also on Instagram. I am very much looking forward to getting back into it. I've been recording a long time. And if you want to come on, if you're a fan of either of our shows, you want to come on, tell your story, but very much encourage you to come on and tell your story. We can we can all learn a little bit of more perspective about your story, because an infantry guy that starts off in one place does not end up in the same place that somebody else does.
Absolutely. Leo, I can't wait for the future work you put out, as well as whatever collab work we may do in the future. You're always pleasant to hear from and to have on. Great episode. So do you think we will end it? Everybody, salute with your right hand, left hand. I don't care. We're out of here.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Leo. Let me end the recording here. Yes.